So, at this point, I think we should go ahead and get into gaming news because we've got a few things to cover this week. So I will let you kick it off. Gaming news. Derrick, what we got?
Yeah, first things first. PS Plus games for July have been announced.
Okay.
They will release on July 6th. A Plague Tale Innocence for PS5, which is great because I was just talking about how I want to play that game. And they just announced the sequel, so yay me. Black Ops 4, which is... okay. I guess they're doing it to ramp up for the next Call of Duty that's about to come out.
Sure.
Here soon. I don't know. And WWE 2K Battlegrounds, which is just the cartoony little body, big head.
It sounds like the only thing I'm going to care about is Plague Tale.
Yeah, so we're going to be getting into that. Mm-hmm. And apparently it's been reported that GTA 6 will be launching in 2025. Oh my god. Rockstar does not give a fuck about y'all and y'all next game. They have been milking the same game for almost, well, at that point it will have been, 2013, it'll have been 12 years.
Wow. Since
GTA 5 released.
I mean, we usually anticipate a bit of a gap between Rockstar titles, and if you want to get real, the most recent Rockstar title would probably be, was it 2018 when Red Dead 2 came out? But still, this is excessive. I mean, again, it's all thanks to GTA Online. Thanks for everybody that continues to give them money for that. You're part of the problem.
But, so, I mean, I guess look forward to it if you're a patient sage.
I'm sure it'll be amazing and groundbreaking. It always is. And I hope that the fact that it's pushed out so far means that they're going to do less crunch and maybe treat their employees a little better. Because Rockstar, along with many other companies that have been aforementioned, they're one of the companies that seem to do a decent amount of crunch. And they get leeway because they make good games. And it shouldn't matter what kind of product you release. How you treat your workers is how you treat your workers. So it needs to be said. I hope that they're treating their employees better. And if treating their employees better means that GTA 6 doesn't come out until 2030, whatever, man. I don't care. Because it's going to be cool whenever it comes out, for sure. Yeah,
it's going to be cool, and my wife will be bugging me to play it. I'm trying to play something else.
I'll be taking the day off.
Babe, I want to play Grand Theft Auto.
By then, man, she'll have so much practice. She'll be gamers with a capital G, TM.
Right. By then, she'll have her own system.
Yeah, she'll be streaming it on her channel.
Oh, hell. That would be so cool.
Yeah. My wife's a streamer.
Moving on. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut was announced for PS4 and PS5. It'll be releasing August 20th, and it'll have a new island expansion, Iki Island, with new story and new enemies and everything. That's going to be $70 on PS5, $60 on PS4. The Director's Cut will feature Japanese lip sync, which is so funny that the English voices for Ghost of Tsushima are the main voices, and the Japanese is basically
it's an American game.
Yeah. No, I know, but it's, it takes place in Japan. It's just, it throws me off.
No, it's interesting, but yeah, people often forget because it looks so good. I mean, when I say good, I mean like authentic. I mean, take it from me, Mr. Whitman. I should know.
Right. It looks authentic.
But no,
it's quite authentic to me.
I mean, it fools my eyes. So yeah, you kind of have to remind yourself, oh, this is an American game.
Right. So, it's going to have 4K targeting 60 FPS.
Love it. So love that word targeting.
Right. It's like, we're going to try to get it, but,
we'll see. We have no promises.
You might get 40. You might get 30. I don't know.
We'll target it and see what happens.
It's going to have haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, 3D audio, basically all the stuff that we expect from PS5 games now. Mm-hmm. And you'll be able to upgrade from your original PS4 version for $30.
Okay, so if you have vanilla PS4, not PS4 Director's Cut, but the game we all have right now, we can spend $30 and get PS5 Director's Cut, and that includes Ikishina Island.
Yep.
Excellent. That kind of plays into the rumor we had last week.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's very cool. Ghost of Tsushima coming out August 20th, Director's Cut. I don't know if might just wait for a discount for the expansion to go on sale or something. I'm not really...
I'm down to pay $30, but basically just for the expansion. and because I want an excuse to go back through it again, because I think that'd be a lot of fun. And it's in August, and I can't think of anything else coming out around August that I want to play. So I think they're going to get me. Now, it's important to mention that your saves will transfer, which is good. So you don't have to go and do everything all over again if you don't want to. As far as like go and do all the extra shit, like all your unlockables will be there and everything. And they have a New Game Plus feature, so you're okay there. Also, the multiplayer mode, Legends, is getting a new mode free of charge to any owners of either game, vanilla or director's cut. Like Legends is just getting beefed up with a new gameplay mode for the multiplayer part, so that's of note. Nice. Speaking of note, you had mentioned something earlier, which I think I saw a news headline on the Kotaku about this earlier in the week in regards to Dead Space.
Yeah, so apparently there's a Dead Space remake in the works from the developer Motive. And that's about all we know. We all thought that maybe they were going to be doing a Dead Space 4, but it turns out it's going to be a straight up remake. So this is a company that worked on or co-developed Star Wars Squadrons. And I haven't played that, so I can't speak to the quality of that game, but I didn't hear anything bad about it. So hopefully if they did a good job on that, they can bring this remake full circle and give us Dead Space again.
Yeah, the tragic backstory here, of course, being that Visceral Games made the original 3 Dead Spaces. They were purchased by EA and then subsequently shut down when people didn't like that EA forced in all the microtransactions and bullshit into Dead Space 3. So let's hope that EA doesn't pull an EA, and then after Motive makes a decent remake, buy Motive, run them into the ground, and then, of course, dismantle them as well.
Right.
Which seems to be their MO. I'm a little salty about this because Dead Space is Visceral's baby, and I'm going to think of this less as a Dead Space game and more as just a new horror game. I don't even like that they're calling it Dead Space. It's kind of annoying. Like, I get that they own the IP or whatever, and that's going to cause it to sell for people who don't pay close attention, but it sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If anything, at least hire back the Visceral people to help work on it or, do something.
Well, now he's working on his own game, so he's like, fuck you guys. He's doing his own new thing. The Callisto Protocol, I think is what it was called.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, if they come around the same time, I'm going Callisto or Calypso or whatever. just as another fuck you to EA, because it's kind of shady if you really know all the details involved. But for fans of Dead Space, it is kind of exciting. I'm not going to be 100% salty about it. But can I just say, can I get an FEA in the chat?
Yeah, and this is really random. This isn't news, but I just want if Capcom's listening, bring back Clover Studio, please. Thank you.
Yeah, as a sidebar, bring back Clover, please.
Bring back Clover.
All right. Well, speaking of games, publishers, and developers and platforms being the worst, PlayStation's in a little bit of hot water this week. Several sources have come out, including Bloomberg, that PlayStation is pretty terrible to indie developers.
Oh, no.
Several developers have come out of the woodwork, named and anonymous, complaining how convoluted it is to work with Sony to get their games spotlighted, put on sale, or just promoted in general. A lot of headlines were focusing on the fact that you had to pay like $25,000 to get your game featured, but that's kind of like you're going to pay a pretty penny to get your book, your game, whatever featured on anybody's storefront. I don't want to focus on that. Right. What I'm mainly focused on is how they have dramatically lower sales on PlayStation consoles than on Xbox or Nintendo, despite PlayStation having a much higher install base. And it seems to just boil down to lack of effort to support indie developers via staff and resources. When they try to reach out to go, hey, how can we do this? Part of the convolution is there's just nobody there to support or help them because Sony's focus is on big budget titles.
Yeah.
We talked about Sony's focus getting in the way of, earlier this episode, how they don't want to do any backwards compatibility. And one of the main guys, the higher ups, just like, these games look like shit. Who wants to play these? Like, he's not a gamer. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't understand or appreciate history or preserving it, like the vast library that PlayStation has, right?
Right.
And this is just another example of how they're being short-sighted. Because you could argue, well, yeah, they want to focus on their big AAA titles like Ghost of Tsushima, right? Because that's what brings in the big bucks. And that's true. But when you support your indie developers, you not only garner goodwill among other gamers like me and you, and people who really appreciate and support smaller games. But also, you end up being able to find your next big game that way. How many indie games or small games ended up blowing up? I mean, think about PUBG and that whole situation. And now we have like Fortnite going crazy and how Epic blew up because of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Any indie game that they support could end up blowing up like that, and then they could buy the studio because they'd have the money. I mean, they just recently bought Housemarque, that just released Returnal, right? And Resogun. And that they're probably going to do great things for PlayStation. So I just think it's extremely short-sighted, and it's unfortunately par for the course with the way PlayStation's been acting lately, and it's going to lead to not their downfall per se, although maybe if they don't steer the ship around, but definitely their decline. And it looks like Xbox and Nintendo are coming out on top this upcoming generation, specifically because PlayStation's just always showing its ass whenever chance it can get.
Mm-hmm. Anytime they're on top, they're just like, well, you see this? This is my ass.
Check it out.
Right.
And it gets swiftly kicked, and then they get humbled. Look at
I just
the
don't
PlayStation
understand.
3.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand the company's viewpoint. When they're on top, they're like, fuck you all. And then when they're on bottom, they're like, we'll do all these cool things. Like you could, like when they went from PS3 to PS4, and Xbox said, hey, your system's got to be always online, and you can't use used games. And then Sony was just like, this is how you trade games on PS4. And then they just handed a game.
It just comes down to poor leadership, I think.
Yeah.
It just comes down to poor leadership. You could say that for CEOs and leaders of a lot of companies, tech, the game development, and otherwise. They end up getting their nose bloodied, and they learn their lesson, but then they quickly forget it because either they just get full of themselves or they switch leadership and the new person came in like, this is how I ran my burger chain. There's no passion or care or love for what they actually produce. It's just the money. And when you get mega big, like a lot of these companies are, that just seems to be how it goes.
Yeah.
And it's not like Sony's known for making good decisions. I mean, aside from video games, are they really doing well in any other area? No.
I mean, they've got nice TVs.
Their movies, their movie division has just been, I mean, they've sort of been bouncing back a little bit, but again, they don't really learn much from it. Other than Into the Spider-Verse, what have you done for me lately?
Right.
So, just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I have no loyalty to any of these companies. Give me good games, and I will praise you. Pull some bullshit like this, and, well, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. On to a better, funner, happier story. Kazuya had his showcase. Sakurai actually took us through. Himself. That's right. Sakurai took us through Kazuya, the new Smash character from Tekken, his move set, and the music. There's a ton of music being added from Tekken. Did you see that music list?
Yeah, it was
Wasn't it like
40 or 80 tracks? I don't remember.
I thought it was like over 30 tracks, maybe like 39. It was a lot.
Okay. From
like the various Tekken games. I saw a bunch from Tekken 1, 2, and 3, and Tag Tournament and all that shit. So that's cool for Tekken fans. That was amazing, actually. And Kazuya looks kind of broken. I gotta say.
Yeah, no, all I hear is complaining.
Well, I don't know if it's complaining or just like, how fast is this dude gonna get banned? Right. I was watching some exhibition matches with Kazuya today, and he's still getting, like, he gets juggled pretty easily, and people are still learning him. I think when somebody really starts to grasp everything that he can do, he could be a contender, but they did balance him by making him a little bit slower than other characters. And that does kind of work to the benefit of balance. But I see this character as having like a ton of potential. Like, I've looked at Hungrybox, Mewtwo King, Aaron Mitter, Alpharad. Like, everybody's talking about like how much potential this character has. So I'm just really excited to see like what new Kazuya mains are going to do. And I'm a little bit afraid to go on Smash Online, but I kind of wanted to see what they're going to do to me.
So, I'm afraid anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, but the other big thing that always happens at these showcases is they release the Mii Fighter costumes, which sounds like it would be fun, but it's really, another way to say it is which characters are getting deconfirmed. Because if you're a character that gets a Mii costume, you're not going to become a fully fledged Smash character. And this round of deconfirms like hurt, I think, more than any other round I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So they led with Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia, which everybody kind of knew. I think that kind of got leaked.
Yeah.
And he looks pretty cool. They actually featured him holding one of the sword items, because typically he fights with 2 swords, but he's a Mii sword fighter, of course. Right. And that was actually pretty neat. And then this one personally hurt me. Everybody else seemed pretty surprised, but I was always thinking this could be a potential character. They had Dragonborn from Skyrim. I was like, no.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been into him.
No, I just thought he would have been a really cool, unique character because of all the dragon shouts and different movesets and stuff you could put in, and just introducing Skyrim lore via spirits and shit like that. I thought it would be really cool. Right. I really did. Plus, I mean, the end boss for his single-player run would have wrote itself. It would have been Rathalos all day. I think my dog is over there snoring. She has the weirdest breathing. I don't know if you can hear her. She's over there like...
I can't hear her.
Okay, good. Listeners at home, if you can hear some kind of weird nose whistling, that's definitely not me. That's my dog. Definitely not me. But then the last two, that's what really got the internet in an uproar. First was Dante from Devil May Cry, deconfirmed.
Sadness.
And while he was deconfirmed, while people are focusing on that, at least if he wasn't going to make it into the roster, at least he did get a Mii costume. That's cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get characters or costumes, you know? So it's like, and I think even after the showcase, Sakurai is like, we hear you. We know a lot of you are disappointed. You wanted to be characters, so we put them in at least as Mii costumes. I'm like, you know, if you want to look at it as a glass half full, thanks for the chance to even play as Dante in his awesome outfit and sword, even if it's just a Mii sword fighter. I'm cool with that. So it's still rough to see. And the last character was Shantae, which... Yeah. That was mixed reception, too, because a lot of people just knew she wasn't going to be able to be her own character, but the fact that she got to be a Mii brawler, that was pretty neat.
Yeah. Now, here's something for you to think about. What if this is just trolling, and the last character is going to be Dante? Huh?
If the last character is going to be from Devil May Cry, I'm thinking either Virgil or Nero. I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it would be the ultimate, like, I got you. If a Mii fighter got to be an actual character.
If they try to pull a swerve where they announced the Mii fighter, but they didn't sell it yet, but the fact that you can buy the Mii fighter costume, I just don't... to put that amount of work into it just doesn't make any sense to me. You know,
how much work really goes into a Mii costume? I don't know.
More than I think like it's worth it to troll people and piss them off. I mean, I don't think that's ever their aim. They know that they're going to piss people off, but I don't think they're actively trying to. You know, I mean, it's wishful thinking to the highest degree. I just don't think that's going to happen. However, a lot of people are like, you didn't get a Sora costume. But that's probably because Disney doesn't want you to. But
exactly.
People are saying Sora. I'm thinking Sora would be cool. I'm thinking it's either going to be another Fire Emblem rep. Hilarious. Actually, no. Right. Here's what I really think. I think a Monster Hunter character might be in the works just because we've had 2 Monster Hunter games in the last year. Right. You know, Stories and Rise. And then that secret extra character we talked about because of the website coding. Still think that's happening. I'm like crossing my fingers. That could be Waluigi. So my predictions, the official Player 2 is into the podcast prediction from MC Paperstacks. The last character, Monster Hunter. The secret character that nobody knows is coming, Waluigi.
Wow.
What do you think? Do you have predictions?
It has to be somebody ridiculous. It has to be. No,
because the last character in the first Fighter's Pass was ridiculous for a different reason.
I know, but this is what was the last character in the first Fighter's Pass?
Byleth. A Fire Emblem character. You know, a swordsman with blue hair.
Right. No, I just feel like the last character like that will be in Smash Ultimate, period, has to be like a banger. And I feel like they should have ended with Sephiroth. If this next character isn't a banger, they should have just ended with Sephiroth.
And that's why I know it's not going to be, or at least that's not the intention, because they don't seem to care about the ordering too much. Yeah. Because if they had that mindset, they wouldn't have ended with Byleth in the first Fighter's Pass. But okay, let's say they are waiting for it to be a banger. What's your prediction?
I'm thinking, no, not Master Chief, because there's no. Is there somebody? Well, maybe Master Chief.
Well, Microsoft lent Banjo-Kazooie. They own Banjo-Kazooie, dude.
Yeah.
So Microsoft character is not out of the way. In fact, now that Microsoft owns Bethesda, could be Doom Guy.
Oh yeah. I really, really, really want it to be Sora or Riku.
Okay.
Some sort of Keyblade wielder. just
Okay.
because of the moveset would be ridiculous.
It would
And
be
yes, it would be
ridiculous.
another sword fighter, but I mean,
You
at
know
this
what?
point,
To
what's
put
another
that to
sword
bed,
fighter?
there's only 3 types of Smash characters you're going to get. You're going to get a sword
Right.
fighter, a brawler. You're going to get the Mii's. You're going to get a sword fighter,
Right.
brawler, or gunner.
True.
That's really all you're going to get. And if you look at the number of sword fighters versus brawlers versus gunners, it's pretty even.
Yeah. Or and hear me out.
Okay.
I actually saw this on the internet that Sakurai was going to be the last character.
I heard something like that too, which would be super cute if that's true.
But no,
I think he should get a Mii costume though, for sure.
Yeah, but I think something that would be cool is a character kind of like a Mokujin that you pick and it mimics like any other character in the game that's just random. So you pick them just to like have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do like 8-player Smash with this, let's just say Mokujin.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you a bunch of different random characters and it gets different outfits or whatever.
I get you.
For it. I think that'd be cool.
Is that going to be your
Hopefully.
extra character or the final character?
I think that'd be my extra, but my final character would be a Kingdom Hearts rep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Player 2 is near the podcast predictions. We're looking at either a Kingdom Hearts rep or Monster Hunter rep. That's our pick for the last character. And the extra character is either going to be a fighting game staple, that character that knows everybody's movesets, which would be insane to program, or Waluigi. So that's what we're looking at. Well, we'll see if we were right before the end of the year. So there you go.
Right, yeah.
All right. Other news, just as a reminder to everybody, Resident Evil Infinite Dark is coming to Netflix this week, July the 8th. And I think it's about 4.5 hours of content if you watch the show all in one shot.
Mm-hmm.
I hear it gets real. There's an interesting request in the embargo for reviews that I heard about this week on Twitter. People are bitching about it, and for good reason. The embargo states, well, the studio's ask is that reviews not at all talk about real-world events or politics that may have allegorical representation in the series. So basically, they're pulling from events that are pretty topical. And it makes sense. I mean, I saw shots of, like, quote-unquote, the president, and we're talking about a pandemic. You know what I mean? So
Right.
Shit might get real. It makes sense. But they don't want any reviews to discuss that prior to the embargo.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was kind of crappy, to be honest. If you're going to do it, just do it. What is this whole thing about we're not political when you're clearly completely political? Can't you just own it?
Right.
Because we're going to find out. We're going to watch the show. And people who are like, oh, you don't want politics in anything, which is just code for, my politics are unpopular. They're going to get pissed no matter what. So just let them get pissed. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think you should really embargo anything. If it's in your show, it's in your show.
Yeah.
And if there's real world allegories, then that's what it is.
I mean, embargoes can be handy as far as like avoiding spoilers and other types of shit. You know what I mean? So I get that. But when it comes to like telling what you can and cannot write about when you're the one doing the review, that's kind of fucked up. You know?
Yeah.
So I agree with you on the fact that the whole idea of an embargo is a little sus.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get it in theory, but this is definitely one of the ways you can abuse it. So,
Oh yeah,
bullshit. All right, the last story is something that we've been sitting on for a few weeks, and I thought it must needs be remarked upon, and that is in regards to this whole abandoned game / blue box games saga. So, you were briefed on it recently, but I can quickly explain for the listeners kind of what we're talking about if you want. So there's a PlayStation 5 game that's coming up called Abandoned, and it looks to be from a small studio called Blue Box Games. And when the trailer originally dropped, not many people thought much about it. That, you know, they're like, oh, this looks bad, or this looks unfinished, or whatever. People on the internet being mean, you know, being critiquing shit. But on Twitter, Jeff Keighley put up a GIF like, very interesting. And that got people thinking, why is Jeff Keighley interested in this horror game on the PlayStation 5? And then people started to think about Jeff Keighley's connections to Hideo Kojima because they're like best pals. And then they thought about how the developer of the game, or the main, I guess, CEO of Blue Box Games Studios, I can't remember exactly what his title is, but his name is Hassan Karaman, whose initials are HK. like Hideo Kojima.
Mm.
And then from there, like this elaborate theory emerged that the game doesn't exist and it's actually a secret new project from Hideo Kojima, creator of the Metal Gear series. And there's some credence to this kind of fuckery because if you remember back in, what was it, 2012? I can't remember. When did Metal Gear Solid, The Phantom Pain start to get kind of teased? Do you recall?
Oh, boy.
This is a while back.
Yeah, it was, I want to say like 20.
Maybe it was 2014 or, yeah, I can't remember. Because I know it came out, I think, in 2015.
Yeah.
But there were trailers where they just called it The Phantom Pain and they had like a fake developer name and then they kind of revealed, oh, it's Metal Gear. And then, of course, you had the whole PT thing where they released it from 7780 Studio. And again, I think the developer, they said, of the Phantom Pain game, they had the first name of the developer was like something Mogren, but the first name was like an anagram for Kojima. Like it was just really like he did all this weird shit. So this is not out of Hideo Kojima's wheelhouse to fake a developer, put out some trailers, and end up being like one of his projects. So that's what people were thinking.
Right.
Followers pretty much set up a community on Reddit to examine it. It's got over 5,000 members, just being hyped up, and you can go and search some videos on the internet. I think GameSpot recently did a good breakdown video. Jason Schreier wrote up an article on Bloomberg. People are really talking about all the comparisons. I think what really gets it for me is the whole thing where they had a Kickstarter for the game, but then they pulled it because they got a private investor. And then Jeff Keighley is really interested in it. And there's all these kind of weird coincidences that kind of connect it to Hideo Kojima. I don't know if it really is connected to Kojima, but I do feel like this game is more than it seems. But Jason Schreier and a lot of other people, just based on recent direct videos from the developer, think that it's just a person who was hyping their game up and then got in over their head when the rumors got out of their hands. I don't know. From everything that you've seen, what do you think about it?
Anything's possible, man.
Yeah.
At this point. Like, even with the whole PT demo being really a secret teaser for Silent Hills, like, this is the kind of shit that Kojima would pull. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man. It could go either way. I hope that it's a new Kojima thing, just so I can look at some weird shit and see.
Well, there's
something to talk about. But
there's unrelated to Blue Box. There's also rumors that Hideo Kojima is developing a horror game for Xbox. There's even a petition that's gone up from a lot of angry gamers that, like, I guess, own PlayStations because of Death Stranding. I don't know why. They're like, don't make it for Xbox. Ugh. And it's just like, shut up. Right. Let him do what he wants to do. If they're giving him money. I can't believe this. Yeah. I do not think Abandon is anything to do with Silent Hill. I really don't. Okay. Unless Konami is being a huge dick and they're playing into all these rumors and Hideo Kojima is not involved and they just tap this small studio to do a Silent Hill sequel just to spite him, which seems kind of fucked. But Hideo Kojima is definitely not involved. If it's not Silent Hill, he might be involved. But if it is Silent Hill, he's definitely not involved. Because his relationship with Konami is pretty damaged. There were rumors for a while that all of it was staged and Konami and Kojima were doing this elaborate trick to eventually, but obviously that all fizzled out years ago. It's kind of fun to follow and speculate, and stuff just keeps coming out to either debunk or pull people back in. Either tweets directly from Blue Box or more shit that Jeff Keighley or Kojima says. Like, every time they get asked about it, it just seems really weird and evasive. So I don't know. Like I said, there are articles and videos out there. Check it out. You decide. They pushed back the series of new trailers and kind of the reveal. They had like an app that was going to have a collection of trailers for this game that was supposed to release late in June. Mm-hmm. That's pushed up to August. So come August, we may learn some more information about it. I'm going to be giving it the side eye for sure. Because if anything, it's a new horror game. And what I really hope is that if it is just a small studio putting out a baby horror game with a little bit of private investor money, that people aren't too harsh on the developer for it not meeting their expectations. You know what I mean? Because I haven't seen any active attempts to try to play into this conspiracy just to get the game more publicity. I think it's all coincidence at this point. At least that's the impression that I'm getting. So we will see. Either way, Hideo Kojima's working on something. My excitement for a Hideo Kojima project is tempered by how shit Death Stranding was.
Death standing around.
Right? More like Death walking, right?
Right.
But no, and when I say shit, I don't mean if it was a first attempt by an unknown developer, I would have the same critiques, but I would be more soft on it because it's still ambitious. And I'd be like, maybe if they pull this back and, blah, blah, blah. But Hideo Kojima is a veteran, and he's made coherent games, even if they have been on the wacky side, which is why I actually love him. I love Metal Gear for how fucking crazy it is. But this was like Kojima, the auteur, unleashed. No one stepping in to go, dude, no, bad. Don't do that. Stop that. And the fact that he's coming out with a director's cut, I know I said on Gamer Friends that I'm not going to be playing that, but I have this morbid curiosity about it, that if it goes quickly on sale, which it probably will, I might pick it up and try it out. I don't think I'm going to finish that game for a second time, because Jesus, but it's something that I might check out just to see what possibly... You know what I'm really hoping? I'm hoping he fixes it. I hope the director's cut is actually less of the game and somehow more streamlined. And he took all of the criticism to heart and went, you know what? Maybe I should have listened to my friends or my team when they said, Kojima, that's a bridge too far. Maybe I should have pulled back a little bit. Here's that game. Right. That's wishful thinking to the nth degree. But who knows? We'll see. I will always love and appreciate Kojima for Metal Gear. It's one of my favorite gaming series of all time. I have such fond memories playing Metal Gear. And it's the reason I bought a PlayStation, the original Metal Gear Solid. I played that demo and I was immediately in love. Metal Gear Solid honestly exemplifies everything that I love about gaming in one package, which is a pretty bold statement, but it just has everything that I love. It's got Japanese nonsense. It's got stealth. It's got action. It's got a weird-ass story. It's got quirky bits. It's got side bullshit. Like, I can't really explain it, but it's just good. There's just no way to get around it. So nice. I could gush. Let's start a Metal Gear podcast. I'll gush about Metal Gear for 2 hours every day.
And I'll just be like,
yeah, cool. We'll do the Derrick X Mike Metal Gear challenge. I'll force you to play all the Metal Gears.
Oh no! Don't make me do it. You can't.
Yes, I can. The people have spoken.
Right.
Send us your messages and requests, listeners, to have Derrick play Metal Gear.